Toyota's new president, Koji Sato, has revealed the revised EV plan for the world's largest automaker. Will Toyota be one of the top EV players soon, or will they stay be playing from behind for the next decade? Today, we're breaking down Koji Sato's press conference as he addressed media yesterday, talking about the major shift in the company in order to bring EVs to the forefront a little bit sooner than Akio Toyoda was able to. Also, sad news, stay at the end because we'll talk about Shoichiro Toyoda. He has just passed away. This is Akio Toyoda's dad and also the son of the founder of Toyota. So definitely stay tuned. We'll talk more about the legendary status of Shoichiro at the end. So I watched the majority of this press conference. Is about an hour and a half. 15 minutes was the press release, or should I say Koji addressing the media with no questions. And then the next hour and 15 minutes was Koji Sato and his new team answering questions for the media. The new theme for Toyota going forward is inheritance and evolution, and there's a brand new management team, and it's a much younger team than what most of the Japanese automakers are used to seeing. They will continue with a strong multi-approach strategy for electrification as well as traditional combustion engines around the world, because they're saying around the world energy availability and cost differs. So it wouldn't make sense, for example, to sell a whole lot of EVs, let's say in Oceania or like parts of Africa. And they are accelerating their EV plan. And this is going to start with Lexus and then trickle down from Lexus to Toyota. But let's get into more of the details. In 2026, they'll have this new battery electric platform that starts with Lexus. And I think it will be the IS, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. So they have to completely transform how they build their vehicles, starting with the platform, the battery, and the manufacturing. All needs to be circled around the battery electric vehicle instead of what they currently have with the ETNJ platform. So they are going this route. And in the meantime, they're going to be rolling out a bunch of EVs. They didn't talk about this, but they will still continue to roll out battery electric vehicles on their ETNJ platform. But that platform and that technology is already kind of behind compared to today's standards. So we'll have probably 3 more years of, actually more than that, because it won't be for Toyota for a while because it's starting with Lexus, right? So we'll have at least 3 more years of them doing their best, trying to keep up until 2026, when they'll have more competitive EVs, at least with Lexus. And it'll be interesting to see how long that'll take to trickle down to Toyota. And here's a quote from Koji Sato: "To deliver appealing battery electric vehicles, we need to drastically change the way we do business, from manufacturing to sales and service, with the BEV first mindset. Lexus will lead this transformation." One of the other main things they're working on is improving vehicle intelligence, and they're starting with the Arene software. So vehicles are designed first digitally, and then they become physical models after that. But everything starts with the digital creation. They're also diversifying. So they're increasing their diversification globally for specific markets, appointing specific products for specific regions. And business reforms are starting next gen with BEV. This reminds me of what Honda just announced not that long ago, saying how they're completely revitalizing and restructuring their business model in order to accommodate BEVs better, as well as attack it on a global scale a little bit better. And interestingly, they want to achieve carbon neutrality first in Asia. That's one of their big goals. That kind of summarized Koji Sato's press release, and they broke it down to questions. So I wrote down some of the more memorable questions here and answers. In this Q&A, Koji Sato was talking about how he wants to make BEVs unique to Toyota. And Toyota's been studying this for many, many years on how to do that. But it's boiling down to the most important things here: thermal management, electrical components, and efficiency, as well as aerodynamics. Koji Sato was asked why Lexus first. And Koji says the demand for Lexus electrified vehicles is really, really high. He also wants to make a high performance, high expectation vehicle with this new battery electric vehicle platform. To me, that means the IS. I think the IS probably, and maybe even they could come out with multiples, maybe a new LS as well on this new platform, and maybe even scale to the ES as well. So it's really hard to say, but it sounds like it'll start with one model in 2026 for Lexus. And he says manufacturing reform must happen to allow for this. And this is going to be on a smaller scale, and that's more suited for Lexus first. They still are planning for 1 million battery electric vehicles sold by Lexus in 2030, and over 3 million when you include Toyota. And in 2030, will they all be on this new battery electric vehicle platform? I highly doubt it. And they said they can't start with a compact vehicle like the Prius for this first battery electric vehicle. It needs to scale higher than that. So my guess is going to be like a K platform sized vehicle, and then you can kind of scale from there. But the Prius on the C platform size, C segment, I guess you could say, is too small for their goals here. And that makes sense for Lexus. They need to have medium to large sized vehicles there. So one of the other questions was, Honda is teaming with Sony, and is Toyota going to collaborate to compete? They mentioned that Toyota has over 1,000 people working on battery electric vehicles in Woven City. This is their Utopia city focused on autonomy, hydrogen fuel cells, electric vehicles, software development, etc. So they have their own dedicated team. So it sounds like they're not really interested in doing partnerships. However, at the end, they said they're still open to pursuing new partnerships to make the ball roll a little bit faster. But I think they believe they're pretty self-sufficient here. And I believe Koji Sato is doing the right thing here to accelerate the battery electric transition to an all-new platform. It makes sense that it started with Lexus first, and 2026 is maybe a little bit earlier than what we are hearing. We are hearing, I think, 2027, 2028 for this new platform. They're going to accelerate it. I still think they're going to be far behind for a while, maybe until 2030. They also talked a little bit about having desirable products that people really, really want in different niches. And that's something where a lot of their competitors are just kind of doing mainstream models. Toyota wants to offer more specific models. I mean, they kind of showed that at the EV presentation a little over a year ago with all their different concept vehicles. So Toyota still wants to have that individuality for customers to choose. I'm excited for their skateboard platform, but with it being at least 3 years away, the excitement is pretty low for me. I think the ETNG platform is bare minimum, and in fact, like they better improve the charging speed of their batteries. They better improve the range as well. Their efficiency is pretty good on it, but we just haven't seen enough from the BZ4X or the Solterra and the RZ that I'll be driving soon. We haven't seen enough from this platform, the ETNG platform, to really get excited for to compete against their competitors. And it should get better in the coming years as they continue to improve that ETNG platform, but it will never ever be as efficient in theory or as good as a full skateboard platform. But like I said, starts with Lexus in 2026. How slow will that rollout be to make Lexus fully electrified by 2030 in the major markets anyways, and globally by 2035? It's going to have to transform very, very quickly after 2026 for Lexus in that 4-year span to turn everything they currently have, from the RX to the NX to the IS to the ES, so those are their main sellers, to turn them fully battery electric. It'll be interesting. I feel like the clock is ticking, and I still just don't know how Toyota is going to be able to produce 3 million battery electric vehicles in 2030 and beyond. It's totally possible that they could do it, but I'm going to say that it might not happen. And there's a lot of unknowns that could happen in the world between now and 2030 that could put a wrench in not only Toyota's adoption of battery electric vehicles, but of course the whole industry. I think they will continue to lose market share in the EV. Well, like they don't really have any EVs, but they will lose market share minimally in certain parts of the world. And Toyota had this graph as well that showed their market share and retail sales by volume. Asia as well. Asia is growing though for Toyota. China is continuing to massively grow for them. And the other market is staying, I don't know, relatively steady since 2005, I should say. Toyota also showed this graph that their break-even vehicle volume is at about 30%. So that means 70% of the vehicles they sell is, in theory, additional profit for them. And they've been able to do this due to the reduction of costs and reworking their supply chain in the last couple of years since COVID. If you look back in 2009, they needed every single vehicle sale in order to break even. And we're going to switch over to some sad news. Shoichiro Toyoda, God rest his soul, son of Toyota founder, dies at 97. And I always think like, man, these CEOs have a lot of stress in their lives. So anytime I hear that one of them lives this long, it was quite impressive. Toyota said the company plans to hold a farewell gathering for the honorary chairman at a later date. He was born in Aichi Prefecture in 1925. Shoichiro Toyoda graduated from Nagoya University School of Engineering. He also studied at Tohoku University Graduate School. He joined Toyota Motor in 1952 following the sudden death of his father, Kiichiro Toyoda, the company's founder, and joined the management team while he was still in his 20s. He worked in engine research, serving as the head of company's Motomachi plant and as vice president in charge of technology before being appointed president of Toyota Motor Sales in 1981. In 82, became the first president of Toyota Motor Group, which was formed by merging in Toyota's Motor Sales. After forming a production partnership in 1983 with General Motors, he decided a few years later to build independent Toyota plants in the United States and Canada. And a firm believer in competition and cooperation, he decided to produce locally in the UK, even in the face of trade frictions between Japan and Europe, further globalizing the Toyota brand. In 1994, in his appointment speech to the Keidanren, Shoichiro expressed his commitment to bold ideas and steady implementation. He announced a long-term vision that included the consumption tax rate of 10% to 12% and focused on reform and finance and tax systems, as well as the development of human capital. After stepping down from the Keidanren, he continued to be active in Japan and abroad, taking a significant role in the 2005 World Expo in Aichi. So God rest Shoichiro's soul, and his son did a really good job, but knowing his limitations, Akio has stepped down to allow for younger, more flexible leaders like Koji Sato to bring the company into the age of electrification. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like button. I really appreciate that, and subscribe for more industry auto updates like this one. Have a great day and peace.